this is horrible what I'm about to say. There have been so many bad interactions that got very intense and almost turned into fistfights. I don't know which story is appropriate because a majority of these people have passed away.
Really?
Yes.
These are like older...
I'll tell this story because we ended up drinking a beer together and it was like fine. There was a wrestler in an oratory exhibition that I had proceeded to cut. I called him old. His name was Tracy.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Tracy didn't like that.
Yep.
Tracy friends me on Facebook because I was building up the match for the following week. This was for Absolute Intense Wrestling. Tracy messages me on Facebook and he goes, in all caps, "Hey, you fucking goof." And I write, "Sup." Because I don't know how else to respond. And because I'm 19 at the time. And he was like, "Why the fuck did you call me old, you dumb, stupid motherfucker?" And I didn't like his tone. Even over text, I didn't like his tone. So I wrote back, in all caps, "It's not my fault you're old." What was he going to do? Beat me up? Guess what? That's exactly what he was going to do. So he calls the promoter at the time. And he tells them, "I'm going to beat the shit out of this, you know, young, worthless sack of crap." Right? Time goes by. It's been a full month. I see him at the show. And he walks up to me. And he goes, "Who do you think you are?" I go, "MJF." And he smirked. And we got drunk. And that was it. That was
He respected that you...
Now, the other stories don't end up happy.
Right.
And a majority of these people are dead.
Right.
I tend to butt heads with the older statesmen in professional wrestling.
And who at 19?
Yeah.
Who is there telling... Like, how do you have the confidence,
I
awareness?
never had a come to Jesus, quote unquote. You know how if somebody is being a jerk or whatever, so they get pulled to the side. I think people just knew I'm unequivocally me, and like you can talk to me about it as much as you want.
But how do you not have that moment of being like, you know what, I better slow down because people are starting to not like me? You don't have this thing. A lot of performers, athletes, whatever you want, have this thing where they need to be liked. That's why they're in front of an audience. Yeah.
There was a guy, he keyed my truck, called me a kike. I guess, I don't know if you bleep out kike, it's up to you.
Okay.
Called me a kike. And that was because at 20 years of age, I was doing very well in the industry. And there were a lot of scenarios like that where people would lean on the anti-Semitism when, in my mind, there was so many other more interesting things like they could have leaned on.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the fact that anti-Semitism would even...
Yeah,
actually, that's where their mind would go.
Let's bleep his name and I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
I don't want to give him the satisfaction of there being an article that says blank did such and such. Sure. And that's just one example of the thousands of times people tried to mess with me. There was another time I'm 20 and one wrestler pulled my pants down and the other wrestler took a photo of my dick and threatened to like leak it out to like social media. That time was funny because I said go for it because I'm proud of it.
Right.
But if it was anybody else,
it would have been bad.
It would have been really bad.
Right. But for you, it would have been like,
and
there's
I know people think I'm kidding, but that's a real thing that happened to me.
Wow.
There was a lot of crazy shit that went down in the Northeast Indies because a young hot start who was afraid of nothing and no one and spoke the way that he wanted to speak. There was a lot of bullying. There was a lot of hazing. There was a lot of trying to get me to quit.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And now I am, and I can say this with a straight face because I own Google Trends, I'm literally one of the most famous professional wrestlers in the world. Mm-hmm. And all of these people that I'm referring to are either dead or irrelevant or canceled. So
shocking, right?
Right. So, yeah.
Do you have a list of people that, like, I mean, in your head, that
like
you
a shit list?
Yeah, that you're like, now that I'm here, I know you're going to call if you haven't already.
Yeah, and they all have.
Yeah,
and they all have. And guess what? I will never stop someone from getting a job. That is not my MO. I think that's horseshit. I think all of the people that had an issue with me are so talentless
Right.
that I'm never going to have to worry about it. And guess what? None of these people work with me
Yeah.
because they're either dead,
Yeah.
talentless, or canceled.
Right. Or 2 out of the 3.
Hey, maybe all 3.
Maybe all 3. Who's to
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Hey, NotSam Wrestling. Who's to say?
Who's to say?